tonight.
Today's sanctions really represent a very, very strong stand against the actions that Iran has been taking.
The Trump administration cracks down on Iran over a ballistic missile test. Plus, terrorist strikes Paris again. Deputy Assistant to the President, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, is here tonight with reaction. Then 11 are arrested after another liberal anti-free speech freakout on the campus of New York University. And we're in Houston, Texas, ahead of Super Bowl 51. Former NFL stars Joe Namath, Chris Carter, Tiki Barber, Tim Tebow, and, of course, Bob Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, will join us. Hannity from Houston starts right here, right now. And welcome to Hannity, and tonight we're coming to you from the home of Super Bowl 51. We're in beautiful Hello, Houston, Texas. We have a full preview of Sunday's showdown between the Patriots and the Falcons. But first, President Donald Trump is showing the world that there is a new sheriff in town, and that is tonight's opening monologue. All right, so earlier today, in response to Iran conducting a ballistic missile test, the White House announced new sanctions against 13 individuals and 12 companies with ties to the rogue regime in Tehran. Now, the U.S. Navy is also placing the USS Cole off the coast of Yemen due to concerns over Iran supporting rebels in that country. President Trump also took to Twitter to issue a warning to the mullahs in Iran, writing, quote, "Iran is playing with fire. They don't appreciate how kind President Obama was to them. Not me." Also tonight, France is on edge after an attempted terrorist attack at a shopping mall beneath a museum in Paris. And according to authorities, a machete-wielding man shouting Allahu Akbar attacked French soldiers before being shot 5 times. The French president, Francois Hollande, says there is, quote, "no doubt it was an act of terror." And President Trump reacted by tweeting out, quote, "A new radical Islamic terrorist has just attacked a museum in Paris. Tourists were locked down, and France is on edge yet again. Get smart, USA." And unlike his predecessor, President Barack Obama, President Trump is making it very clear that he's not going to tolerate Iranian aggression, and that he'll be a lot more tougher when it comes to fighting and defeating radical Islam. Now, the days of all talk, no action is over. The time for action is here. Joining us now with reaction, the Deputy Assistant to President Trump, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, it started with General Flynn saying Iran is on notice, and that was followed, of course, by Iran. A little bit of saber rattling on their part. Now sanctions are being put in place, and beyond the sanctions, if I'm a mullah in Iran, what am I taking out of Donald Trump's tweet today?
Well, I think you've interpreted it exactly right, Sean. This is a new dawn, a new age for America and its relations with people who threaten regimes that threaten us, our partners, or basically regional stability. Look, let's be very clear here. The Persian people are an amazing people with a civilization that's thousands of years old. But we have a regime in Tehran that is destabilizing from Yemen to Iraq, all through the world, with its financing of terrorism, with its intimidation of our naval vessels, the partners in the region and their naval vessels, their funding of proxies. This must end, and we are drawing a very bright line in the sand to send the message that it has to stop, Sean.
I could tell you, Dr. Gorka, knowing Donald Trump as well as I do and what we've observed in just the first 2 weeks, I would take his word seriously. That's number one. Number two, there has been a new alliance that has been created. He's talked to General al-Sisi of Egypt. I know King Abdullah of Jordan has spoken with the Vice President Mike Pence. I know that the relationship, Donald Trump told me in the interview with him, with Israel has been repaired. And from what I understand, there's no love lost between the Iranians and the Saudis. Could you see such a coalition? America, Israel, the Saudis, Jordan, the Jordanians, and the Egyptians lining up to take out these nuclear sites? If you're an Iranian mullah, aren't you thinking that's a possibility?
Look, we in the administration are not going to tip our hand. We're not going to do what the Clinton administration did, the Obama administration did, and give away our game plan. But you're absolutely right, Sean. Look at what we have done in just the last 14 days. We are starting to rebuild all those relationships in the region that are crucial, the ones that were almost destroyed in the last 8 years. Whether it's with Jordan, whether it's with Egypt, whether it's our closest ally, Israel. We are rebuilding all those bridges that were almost burnt to the ground under the Obama administration, because it is so important that our friends understand we are their friends, and that our enemies and our adversaries know who the president is and that it is not Barack Obama.
All right. Based on these sanctions, based on the tweet by the president, based on all that the USS Cole being positioned off the coast of Yemen, if you're the Iranian mullahs, what are they thinking tonight? Are they so arrogant that they don't know there's a new sheriff in town?
I pray to the good Lord that the mullahs, the power center of this theocratic dictatorship, understands that they can't go on with business as usual. Donald Trump is a man of his word. I can guarantee you that they will start to look at things a little bit differently and understand this isn't like the Syrian red lines. Do you remember the Syrian red lines under the last administration? No.
Yep.
This is a very, very different situation. And hopefully they'll start to realize that it is not in their interests to act in the provocative and destabilizing way they've behaved for the last 30 years.
I think we have to ask a very important question. If the Iranian mullahs were ever to get nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction, when you couple A squared, B squared equals C squared, radical Iranian mullahs dedicated to the destruction of the free world and the advancement of a caliphate, coupled with nuclear weapons, seems to be a prescription for a nuclear holocaust. Isn't that something the world must truthfully face and acknowledge and defeat before that day ever comes?
Yes, your calculation is a very simple one. Let's look at the components there. We have a regime that believes, at least part of it, in apocalyptic ideas, the occultation of the hidden imam. They think that they're building a caliphate in the end times, and they wish to acquire weapons of mass destruction and will not be deterred like the Soviet Union. This isn't a bunch of rational actors like Brezhnev. These are people who may actually think it is a good idea to initiate the apocalypse. Well, that's why acquisition of nuclear weapons is bad.
I want to be very clear. I think especially after 58,000 lives are lost in Vietnam and the war becomes politicized, then we have to ask, why did these men fight, bleed, and die? Same thing with Iraq and Afghanistan. 5,000 dead, many more lost their limbs and were severely injured. And then it becomes politicized, and we lose the cities they won, Ramadi, Fallujah, Mosul, and Tikrit. So my question to you is it possible to remove those sites and the threat of them getting nuclear weapons without putting boots on the ground? Because I don't think any American, me included, wants that to happen.
I'm not going to comment with regards to what is and what isn't possible, because again that'd be tipping our hand. But actions like this have been taken in the past. If you look at Iraq, if you look at other nations, if you look at what the Israelis have done,
by the Israelis.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So, and the president is clear on this. President Trump is clear. We're not interested in invading countries. That's not what we do as a nation. This nation was born in resistance to imperial attitudes.
Well, let me ask this, Dr. Gorka, because I think this is very fundamental and very important. The Iraq case, there was worldwide condemnation of Israel, and then it was only years later that people recognized it was the right thing to do. It was almost not reported what they did in Syria. But the Iranians, they are evil, but they are not stupid. And they have buried these nuclear facilities way down deep in the ground and all around the country. And we're talking about a lot of ground to cover here. I've got to imagine that's a difficult, challenging military operation. And I'll give you the last word.
it may be challenging, but remember, this is the greatest nation on God's earth, and we have the best military and the best intelligence agencies out there. Just look at the Abbottabad mission. Look at what we've done in the past. So, and you don't necessarily have to use military tools. I'll just leave it at that.
All right, Dr. Corker, our thoughts and prayers are with our military guys, and I would say the Iranians are very foolish if they are going to test this president. It won't end well for them. All right, coming up, we're broadcasting tonight. We're in Houston, Texas, the home of Super Bowl 51. Tonight, Jim Gray joins us with his predictions, along with FS1 NFL analyst, Hall of Famer Chris Carter. Later, Tiki Barber, Tim Tebow is here. Broadway Joe Namath are here. And we'll get to all of that. And also, Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, but first tonight. More left-wing lunatics, agitators causing chaos outside of NYU in New York City last night. We'll play you the tape. That and more. Hello, Houston. How are we doing? As we continue from Houston.
Did you know?
Seattle, Washington puts a temporary halt to President Trump's order banning travel from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. The president signed the executive order earlier this month, sparking nationwide protests. Washington State and Minnesota filed suit to have it overturned. The judge ruling both states had standing to challenge the order.
Judge Robart's decision, effective immediately, effective now, puts a halt to President Trump's unconstitutional and unlawful executive order. I want to repeat that. It puts a stop to it immediately, nationwide.
And the Department of Homeland Security issued a statement that read, quote, "We do not comment on pending litigation as a matter of policy." I'm Jackie Ibanez. Now back to Hannity. Have a great night.
And welcome back to Hannity. We're in Houston, Texas, the site of Super Bowl 51. Liberal agitators are at it again, this time trying to shut down a conservative speaker last night at NYU University in New York City. Take a look.
Go, Nazi scum! Kill yourself, Nazi piece of
We're out here in order to let NYU, NYPD, and New York City know we will not sit back and allow Nazis to have a platform to feel comfortable in order to organize and mobilize towards our extermination.
All right, 11 people were arrested as a result of this mayhem. Now, this, of course, comes after the near riot we saw earlier this week on the campus of UC Berkeley. That was out in California. Protesters forcing the campus to cancel a speech by the Breitbart editor, guy by the name of Milo Yiannopoulos, by smashing windows, throwing Molotov cocktails at police, and even setting part of the campus on fire. Earlier this morning, the president tweeted, "Professional anarchists, thugs, and paid protesters are proving the point of millions of people who voted to make America great." Any Trump fans here? All right, just check it. Who did you vote for? Oh, just check. All right, joining us now with reaction from campusreform.org, Troy Warden and Fox News contributor Lisa Booth. Hey, Troy, I thought liberals were all about freedom of speech. I thought UC Berkeley was the home of the free speech movement. Isn't that where it all started in 64 and 65?
Well, thank you for having me on, Sean. And I just want to say, yes, we call ourselves the home of the free speech movement, but Wednesday night absolutely contradicted that. We just wanted to exercise our right to free speech and invite Milo Yiannopoulos to speak. And we couldn't do that because outside groups and agitators, aided and abetted by students, used fireworks, firecrackers, what have you, and literally these things were exploding against the building. I was inside, and I detailed my terrible experiences on campusreform.com, and I felt like a war zone. It felt like a third world country, and I think this is really just a shame. I don't think we are in a civil society anymore because the left is too intolerant.
You know, Lisa Booth, I thought liberals were supposed to be tolerant and inclusive, and they love everybody. And they always argue, oh, conservatives are racist and sexist and homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic. I can't even remember all the phobias I'm supposed to have. None of this is true, but it's really them that are intolerant. True or false?
Oh, 100%, Sean. There's no tolerance on the left. And look, Sean, I really think it's important in the terms in which we describe these riots, because we need to be careful of not saying anything in regards to protesting, because protesting, the exercising of the First Amendment, I think we can all agree upon. But rioting is not covered under the First Amendment. These individuals are criminals. They are rioters. They are thugs. They should be condemned in the strongest terms. And I think it's the media, and especially the mainstream media, needs to be really careful by not condoning or enabling this behavior by saying that it's protesting and saying that somehow it's covered by the First Amendment, because it's absolutely not.
You know, Troy, when I look at all of the issues, I don't know a conservative that I know, not one that's racist. I don't know any conservative that doesn't make a distinction between radical Islam and those that are practicing a religion. They make a distinction, all of them. I don't know anybody, frankly, that gives a flying rip about anybody's sex life. No conservative that I know cares. And yet this is a false caricature, but I do see intolerance here and Molotov cocktails here and people being beaten in other instances. So it's kind of been topsy-turvy in terms of the national debate, hasn't it?
Yes, it's been absolutely crazy, Sean. And I know Gavin McInnes. I've seen him on your show and on Fox News. And I can say for certain, the man is not a white supremacist or a Nazi. And the same goes for Milo Yiannopoulos. These people are expressing their views, but in a controversial manner and with humor. And the problem is, students at NYU and UC Berkeley aren't being taught by their professors to distinguish between performance and facts. I want my peers to protest, sure, and I also want them to address these facts and statistics Mr. Yiannopoulos and Mr. McInnes bring to the table. I want them to engage in a rational debate, not to shout us down and use violence to silence us. I don't think Berkeley is the home of the free speech movement anymore.
All right, last word, Lisa.
Well, I don't think the left wants to have a debate. That's why they always resort to demagoguery. And look, Sean, we didn't see this kind of behavior, this kind of violence at the March for Life or at Tea Party rallies. But they say that the Trump supporters are the ones that are supposed to be the deplorables. And you see these actions. Look at just some of the signs, the language and the rhetoric and some of the things that were discussed at the quote-unquote women's march, which wasn't a women's march because it excluded groups of women. It was just a pro-choice march. But look at the way that a lot of those protesters conducted themselves. So, you know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. They don't want any sort of constructive conversation. They just want demagoguery.
All right, thank you both for being with us. All right, when we come back, we're in Houston, the site of Super Bowl 51. We're in Houston ahead of the big game. Jim Gray joins us along with NFL Hall of Famer and FS1 NFL analyst Chris Carter. And also tonight, former NFL superstar Tiki Barber, Tim Tebow, Joe Namath are here. Plus, the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft, is here. What's it?
One of the things that I heard this morning in watching the news was that, amazingly, it's never happened before, that politics has become a much bigger subject than the Super Bowl. This is usually Super Bowl territory.
That was President Trump earlier today at the White House. While many Americans are very tuned into politics, guess what? NFL fans all across the country, they're gearing up for the highly anticipated matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. It's all happening Sunday. It's airing on Fox broadcast. You don't want to miss it. Joining us now, preview of the Super Bowl, a sportscaster, Fox News contributor, and a friend, Jim Gray, and FS1 NFL analyst, Hall of Famer, Chris Carter. You and I were arguing politics. We're never going to talk politics again, are we?
No, I'm going to be at Fox. I'm going to come see you. I'm going to come see you.
We'll do it on air?
Oh, absolutely.
I want to do that.
I'm coming to your spot. Yes.
Are you going to, when you say come to my spot, mean take my job?
No, absolutely. No, I'm not trying to do that. I couldn't do that.
I think you could.
But I'm a member of the Fox family, so.
No, I know you are. Jim, how you doing? All right, so let's analyze this game.
So far, so good.
Let's ask the crowd. How many here think New England's going to win? many think that Atlanta's going to win? Let's break it down.
Well,
Go ahead, Jim.
you know, this is the 7th time that Tom Brady and the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. There's only collectively 5 guys total on the Atlanta Falcons. So if experience means anything, and it probably doesn't, it's a one-off game. But Brady has more experience than the entire Falcons team. That plays into something. Mike Ditka often said, our former partner, mine at NBC, yours at ESPN.
By the way, he's such a great guy, isn't he?
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Coach is great. He said he hyperventilated and could not breathe the first quarter and a half in his first Super Bowl.
Are you
So
serious?
how is that going to hit some of the Falcons? I mean, you've played in big games, and this is a much different thing than a big game.
Let's talk about it from your perspective, because you had that experience. The big game.
Well, it's a big game. It's bigger than any game I've played in. 16 years in the league, I never made it to the Super Bowl, but had a lot of coaches and players that play in it. One thing is the beginning of the game. There's a tremendous amount of time between the warm-up and between the time the game starts. If you look at New England, their last 6 Super Bowls, they have not scored a point in the first quarter.
Wow.
Now, coming into the game, Atlanta, an NFL record, they've scored 30 points in 6 straight games. So it's going to be very, very important early in the game to be able to see if Shanahan can get them in formations and get them some type of points. New England, typically they start off very, very slow in these games. So people say the old cliche, get off to a fast start. In this game, it's very, very important.
You know, what about Jim's point, though? I want you to respond to this. This is his 7th Super Bowl.
Yes.
He's got 4 rings. The only team that beat him was twice was the Giants.
Right.
Tough to beat. That experience, Belichick and him have been together 17 years.
It's tough to beat that, but once you get on the game, especially young players, okay? Atlanta has an average age of 27.7, one of the older teams in the league, but they have 4 rookies contributing to their defense. They have youth, but they have a lot of team speed. Tom Brady gave us a little insight into his life. He gave us a personal shot that he's human. He talked about his mother and her health. And he also said that his mother hadn't seen him play this year. And we all have mothers, and we know how special our mother is. So, Jim, could you imagine the pressure that Tom Brady suspended at the beginning of the season? It's been an epic-type year, and this game is the only game this season his mom's going to be at. He has the ability to be a 5-time Super Bowl champion. No one has ever done that as a quarterback. Charles Haley has 5 rings, but he was a defensive end. So I believe there's more pressure on Brady because of what he wants to do.
Is there more pressure, or does he have something to prove to the NFL and the country this year?
I do the radio show, and Tom comes on with us every Monday night on Westwood One.
Oh, wait,
we'll have the game on Westwood
Oh, you got to tune in. It's a great show.
No, I listen.
Like,
I never got invited on the show.
So, just a little bit of insight. I don't think he feels pressure. I don't think he even thinks about it. He dedicates his life to getting better at football every day, from every ounce of water that he intakes to avocado ice cream to running wind sprints to everything that he does. His family and football and winning are all that matters to him. And this is now an opportunity for him to separate himself.
Yes.
It's redemption because he and his reputation were dragged through the mud by the National Football League over absolutely nothing. It was ridiculous.
I thought it was unfair.
Now he can put that not only behind him, but to rest. They could have played with pillows in that game.
Right.
And don't think for 1 minute that this guy does not have this, even though as calm and as classy as he is not in the back of his head.
Let me use an example. All right. A lot of people, you put a camera in front of them, doesn't matter how articulate they are, they're scared to death. You go on TV, you do radio and TV. Do we think about it? Isn't it like that for the real pros in the NFL? They're not going to be thinking about the crowd. They've learned to turn that off.
Well, he's got a lot of talent, but he's got a lot of self-discipline. And he has the ability in this game to be able to focus like no player that we've seen. He can be 15 years between Super Bowl wins. So after this, not only will we be talking about Tom Brady as the greatest quarterback, but you have to start talking about, is Tom Brady the greatest NFL player we've seen? All right? He would have to be in that conversation.
He has to be.
Because of his longevity and success.
I mean, look, he is now playing, as you said, this is his 16th year. 1 year he's out with the knee injury because he gets hurt in the first game against Kansas City. So he's really eligible for 15. Now he's playing in his 7th Super Bowl. That's almost 50% of the time. Look at it one other way. They've played 51 of these things.
Yes.
He's played in 7. That's 15%. The first 12, he wasn't even alive.
What is it about
those numbers don't lie?
Robert Kraft in the NFL and like the Nick Saban in college football? What is it about the culture that the same people keep getting here? What is that?
Consistency and continuity.
What are they doing?
Consistency and continuity. They're together. They know each other. Tom Brady is great, okay? Him being great makes it easier for Bill Belichick. A lot of people say it's the other way around. You know, Bill Belichick was not great with Bernie Kosar, but he grew into the position, and Bill Belichick has been the greatest coach ever for Tom Brady, and Brady wouldn't want to play anyplace else, and Bob Kraft has done a magnificent job at keeping them together. They're not jealous, petty, or angry about each other's success.
Sauce when if it's in college, it's Nick Saban, it's Belichick and Brady in the NFL.
I'm very familiar with both coaches, and they have great systems. It's just like broadcasting or being in business. If you have a good system,
that's why Fox is number one.
You put talented people. That's part of it. Part of it's the system.
That's
part
so
of
arrogant that you said that, but I don't care. Go ahead.
Part of it is the talent, and sometimes you got to have a little arrogance and a little ego.
I'm not arrogant. I'm only kidding.
No.
I want to be humble. I want to.
Okay.
I'm a Christian. I want to be humble.
Okay, no problem.
But we're number one.
We can work on that. But I believe in systems. And both of them have very good systems, but also they look for certain players who will sacrifice for the overall team good. And that's the reason why their systems are very, very successful.
I know we're focused a lot on Brady. I think Matt Ryan has had a phenomenal year. I'm very impressed with him as a person and as a quarterback, and he's done so well with the Falcons. But I wonder, are we paying too much attention to the offense? The New England defense, Matt Ryan's going to face the toughest defense he's faced all year.
When the number one offense has played the number one defense 6 out of 7 times in the Super Bowl, the number one defense has won.
5 out of 6.
6 out of 7.
Yes. Okay.
6 out of 7.
How about 7 out of 8? Go ahead.
Well, we'll see what happens. You know, Atlanta is a great team, and they've had a great year, and they can win this game. I mean, you know, they're a small underdog, but they can score so many points, and you just don't know. Anybody who tells you that knows, Sean,
they don't know.
They don't know. And if they knew that much, we all should just run and go get on your jet and run out to Las Vegas and become very wealthy people. Nobody knows.
Exactly, right?
Matty Ryan is underrated as a quarterback. There's no quarterback in the history of the National Football League. In the first 9 years, he holds the record for most yards. I always thought Matty Ice was a good quarterback. He's a great competitor. He's a student of the game. They have changed the system to make it more simple, less verbiage, and he's been able to utilize it. Kyle Shanahan does a great job as far as formations. So they're very, very explosive. If they can throw the ball to their tight ends and running backs against New England's linebackers, that's the best matchup that they have on the field.
What's your prediction? Can they pull that off?
I believe it's going to be a more interesting game than people think. I do believe New England is going to win the game. My prediction would be New England Patriots 26, Atlanta Falcons 24.
We're close. Where are you?
31-28, New England.
Well, I pick them by 3 too. Wow. All right. Listen, you guys have been unbelievable. Where are you going to be for the game? You're calling the game.
On Westwood 1, and we'll have President Trump on.
Isn't that great? During the game?
At halftime.
Is he here?
No, not to my knowledge. He's calling in. We're on the radio, so he'll be on.
He can call.
He'll be on the telephone. Yeah.
He used to like to call the morning shows in the morning. He didn't have to get up. Good for him. Guys, good to see you.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you as always. Appreciate it,
Thank you.
I'm coming to New York to beat up on you.
Come on, man.
All right.
I got my brown belt this year. All right, let's go.
There we go.
Coming up next tonight, right here on Hannity.
It means a lot to me to play in this game for sure. I mean, this is what you work so hard on for so long, is to give yourself this opportunity.
I want to win it because I want to win. And, you know, our team has put a lot into it, and we want something to show for it.
Tom Brady, Matt Ryan are ready to face off in another Super Bowl. Up next, we'll ask former NFL stars Tiki Barber, Tim Tebow, Joe Namath about Sunday's big game, and later the Patriots owner Robert Kraft is here, and we'll ask him about his special relationship with Donald Trump and about Sunday's showdown as Hannity continues. Where are we? What city? Houston, Texas.
It means a lot to me to play in this game for sure. I mean, this is what you work so hard on for so long, is to give yourself this opportunity. I think it's great for our city. You know, we've got a great fan base, great people.
Winning this Super Bowl, you know, is important because it's this one. It's, you know, you can't do anything about the ones we won in the past, the ones we lost in the past. You know, next year's is the only one we got. And, you know, I want to win it because I want to win. And, you know, our team has put a lot into it, and we want something to show for it.
All right, that, of course, was It says Matt Ryan in my prompter. That was not Matt Ryan. That was Matt Ryan first. The New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady talking about how important playing in the Super Bowl is to them. It airs on Fox. It's happening on Sunday. Joining us now with reaction, former NFL running back Tiki Barber, former NFL quarterback Tim Tebow, and former Super Bowl champion Hall of Famer Joe Namath.
Yes.
Give it up. All right, Tiki. Come on.
They love you,
You know,
Joe.
when we have some fans. When you won the Super Bowl, you made a prediction you were going to win, and everybody
Called it.
Called it.
Called it. Yes. We did. No, we had the best team.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. If only the Jets could get a quarterback, we'll be in great shape, right?
Oh, man, I don't want to go there right now, but they have great fans.
They do. It's great to see you. I can't believe it. I'm so happy, seriously. You're such a competitive, hardworking fighter. Now you're going into baseball, and my friends in the Mets organization said you're doing really well.
Thanks, man. It's been awesome. I've loved it every day, living a dream out every single day, and can't wait for spring training to start here in 2.5 weeks. So
That's
I'm pumped
great
about it. Yeah.
And by the way, Tiki has a TV show. He's never invited me on his show.
No, it's a radio show. I got to be on it
What is
today.
up with that? On this morning?
Oh, of course, Tebow's
I see him in the morning. I see him in the evening. Are you going to get up at 6 o'clock?
Is there anything more fun than this moment in American sports, being at these Super Bowls? It never gets old, right?
No, especially more fun is being there and winning it. Yeah, that's more fun. But this is the best week in sports, I believe, along with leading up to the Derby or the Sweet 16.
But since you won, you've seen the growth of the NFL, the growth of the importance of the Super Bowl in this country. Pretty huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And that's the one negative thing I think about these two teams. Atlanta hasn't spent a halftime like they're going to spend off the field. That's the only edge I'm giving to New England.
That's the only edge?
Only edge other than Tom Brady. But
Tom Brady,
like Ryan.
Bill Belichick, come on, that's a pretty big comp. 17 years together.
Yeah, well, again, whichever team beats themselves will lose, and Atlanta can win the game.
Yeah, I beat myself when all the time.
Don't go there.
You don't go there? Yeah, I'm throwing the football at you, all right?
At least you completed this one. At least you completed this one.
All right. You had an amazing moment with the Broncos. I'll never forget that day. You go into overtime. You win the game. That was probably your best moment in the NFL?
It was a special moment for sure.
Heisman Trophy wasn't bad either, right?
that felt pretty good as well.
Yeah. What do you think these guys are feeling? You know, they're watching all the hype. They see all these great fans.
Yeah, but that's the thing, especially for the Patriot. It's the Patriot way, right? They're not caught up in the media. They're not caught up in what people are saying. That's what makes New England different, because their culture is such a culture on do your job, don't worry about what people are saying, don't worry about the outside noise.
You were there.
I was there. They literally block it off, and it's led by great leadership. It's guys like Tom Brady, Matt Slater, all these guys, and they have a way.
Tim, the next question is that why they're here so often?
Well, there's a couple reasons they're here so often.
Look at Joe. He's a long-suffering Jets fan. I know.
That's what he doesn't want to say. They're here because they're in the division with the Jets and the Dolphins.
But by the way, we got to say that. So Brady, this is his 7th opportunity. He's got 4. He was stopped twice by one team.
Yes,
the New York Giants.
Yes. Don't blame me, Pats fans. I wasn't there at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, the Giants had the answer, which is get pressure on him early. Now, the issue is, really, in this game, is Dan Quinn knows how to play against them. We forget that Super Bowl 2 years ago. They had him down by 10 points with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But Tom Brady is Tom Brady. You can't stop him forever.
You know, I don't know why this year, it's like all the sports writers, they're the worst human beings on earth. I just want you to know. Sports writers are the worst. And they're so rough on Tom because he supported Donald Trump, right? And I'm like, all right, so what? I thought the Flakegate was a bunch of bull. I thought it was so overplayed. Come on. They won by 40 points. But the thing is, am I right? They want to hate Brady. Number 1, he's good. Number 2, he wins. Number 3, he's got a good-looking wife and girlfriend. Is that why? You know all about that.
It's a lot for people to handle.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot for people to handle.
By the way, you're pretty close second, too. Come on. You know. Why are the Patriots that only 25% of the country wants them to
They're on
win?
the mountaintop, and it's the king of the mountain. We've been playing it since we were 5 years old. You want to knock the top guy off.
But it's also like Alabama in college. Everybody was rooting for Clemson. Very few people were rooting for Alabama because they've seen the same team over and over. We've seen this movie before. We don't want to watch a rerun.
Is Belichick and Nick Saban the same in the culture-wise that you were talking about?
It's extremely similar. The culture is so similar. Not to mention that Alabama gets all 5 stars.
Alabama. They wanted Alabama.
First of all, we both know this. Alabama doesn't recruit, they select. I mean, that's a different level of what they're doing right now.
Well, when you went to Florida, did Alabama court you?
Yeah, I chose Florida over Alabama. We're talking about the last 5-6 years, what they're doing.
They've been amazing.
But that culture is extremely similar to
Belichick, Saban, Meyer, when you went to Florida, it's whatever business. You got the guy up top there that's leading the show. You know, it kind of starts with them, and they put it together. So,
you want me to silence 3 incredible people that talk? All right, so who'd you vote for? I'm only kidding. Listen, I'm fans of all of you guys. You've all become my friends. It's an honor to have you on my show. It really is. Tim, so good to see you. Tiki, love you, man. Thank you very much. All right, coming up next tonight, we're in Houston. Hannity continues.
He came to the funeral with Melania. He visited me at my home Memorial Week. He called me once a week for a year.
All right, that was Patriots owner Robert Kraft talking about his very special relationship with Donald Trump. Up next, the man himself, Robert Kraft, is here. He'll join us on set as Hannity continues from Super Bowl 51. We're in Houston, Texas. We're on the road having a good time.
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse awards the $5,000.
Somebody that's under no pressure whatsoever because he's got a great quarterback named Tom Brady and a great coach named Belichick, Bob Kraft. So good luck, Bob. Your friend Tom just called. He feels good. He called to congratulate us. He feels good. Good luck. You're going to do great. Thanks.
All right, that was President Donald Trump the night before his inauguration, having some fun with the crowd and pointing out, once again, the New England Patriots are in the Super Bowl and their owner, Robert Kraft, was in the house. Now, the two have a special friendship. Now, Kraft tells the story that Donald Trump called him once a week for a year after his wife died. We're speaking with the man himself, the New England Patriots owner, Robert Kraft. Good to see you. How are you?
Good to be with you, Sean.
You know, a lot of people think Donald Trump's really tough all the time. That's not a tough side of him.
Well, he and I, we've never done any business together, but we've been friends over 20 years, and we've had a lot of fun together. I went to his wedding to Melania.
Yeah.
Bill and Hillary were sitting at the next table.
Yeah.
And
you've been a part of history in football and in politics.
Well, he's great, and he and Melania, when my beloved wife died, and which was the most difficult thing in my life, he and Melania came to the funeral. They came up to Brookline, and then they came to my house for Memorial Week, and he called me once a week, every week for a year. How was I doing? Invited me to things. And, you know, we were just friends. No business reason. No, we've never done business. And I'll never forget that. That's the kind of guy.
And you had a really close relationship with your wife. You took it very hard. So it meant a lot.
My kids were afraid I was leaving this earth. Yeah, I'm a pretty strong guy most of the time, but we were privileged to be married for 48 years, even though I think I'm 35. And she was awesome, just a great lady and a great partner. And I always thought she'd outlive me 30 years. She read 4 books a week. She ate healthy, worked out every day, and only went to the hospital to give birth to 5 sons. Wow. Never sick a day in her life, and got this horrible ovarian
Great story.
cancer.
That's kind of the side I've known about him for years, all the years I've known him. All right, so here you are back in the Super Bowl again. Tom Brady has 4 Super Bowl rings. He's been here 6 times. This is his 7th time. Everyone asks, what are you doing differently that these other teams aren't doing?
Well, we're privileged to have a certain culture on our team that everyone checks their ego at the front door. Look, you're in the media business. You know how personalities can get out of control sometime. And, you know, my job is to keep everyone together. And in the case of Tommy and Bill Belichick, we've been together 17 years.
Is there any better press conference than Bill Belichick in a press conference?
Well, in the beginning, once he started winning, it was the best.
Yeah.
But until you win and prove it, but he is so clever and so intelligent, and he can deadpan.
I know.
But he has another side. He can be very engaging and charming.
Well, listen. Good luck on Sunday.
We're going to kick butt.
I have my money on you. So you've got too much experience and time, and I'm a fan of Tom Brady's too. So and Coach Belichick. Best of luck, and you're one of the great owners. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, good to see you.
Honor to be with you.
It's an honor to be with you, Mr. Kraft. All right, coming up, we have our question of the day. It's Super Bowl related, and that is straight ahead as we continue. All right, time for our question of the day tonight. So, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Falcons or the Patriots? Who's going to win? Go to Facebook.com/Sean Hannity, @Sean Hannity on Twitter. Let us know what you think. That's all the time we have left this evening. Thank you for joining us from Houston. You guys want a football?